I built the YouTube channel you're watching in 2 weeks, and instead of rambling about nothing of value, I'll cut through all the fluff and share you my journey. First, I found a profitable niche. In my case, it was YouTube growth, because I've been in the faceless YouTube industry long enough to start sharing the secrets I've learned over the years. I knew I had valuable insights to offer. Notice how the niche I chose aligns with my skills. The best niches are always the ones where you have some sort of edge or competitive advantage over others. If you're good at building websites, you might want to consider how-to tutorials on website creation. If you're a hardcore baseball fan and know more than the average person, you might consider making videos about baseball. Having some edge is always better than none. Okay, so I found the niche that's going to make me rich and famous, right? Not exactly. The niche I chose only lays the basic foundation for me to start building upon. But if you start building on a piece of cardboard, you're setting yourself up for failure. That's why it's crucial to pick the right niche. Now comes the channel names, and dear God, I struggled a lot. We have No BS Advice, CEO of Success, Cash Printer, and a bunch of others that never made the cut. Eventually, I came up with Success Explained. As for the logo and the banner, I had something in mind, a little 500-year-old piece by Michelangelo. So, we have the channel ready and set, but I do have to come clean about one thing. This channel isn't exactly fresh. It was created over 10 years ago when I was still a snot-dripping kid making Minecraft gaming videos for fun. Now, years later, I revamped the channel, deleted the old videos, and turned it into what it is today. This also explains why I had 260 inactive decade-old subscribers before I even uploaded a single video. Now that we're back on track, obviously, in order to grow, I needed to start uploading. So, I started digging through my competitors' channels to see what they were doing. Kind of like spying, I guess. I picked a few YouTube gurus and chose to display their most popular videos. That's when I came across a format that seemed to be working well for them. The titles might differ, but the idea is to basically showcase a case study of one of your faceless channels that you've been running for a year or so. This video format was particularly effective because of its high barrier to entry. You need a channel that has actually produced results, which was perfect for me. With the plan in place, I needed to create a script. I knew this channel case study wasn't something I could just outsource to any scriptwriter, no matter how good they were, because in the end, I'm the one who created the channel and overcame its obstacles. The script had to be my own. Voice acting was the easiest part because I'm not imitating any characters. And heck, I'm not even voice acting these videos myself. If you haven't noticed yet, this voice is made with 11 labs. Next, we have editing. But before that, I want to mention two things. And don't worry, I'm not about to shove any sponsorship segments down your throat. First, if you're struggling with your channel or have any questions regarding anything YouTube related, please don't hesitate to comment down below. I'll answer every single one of them as my personal thanks to you for watching this video. Second, let me give you a quick lesson on where to look for freelancers. For scriptwriters, you want Creative Paradise Discord server, Upwork, Fiverr, and YouTube Jobs. For editors, use Creative Paradise, YouTube Jobs, and Twitter or X. For voice actors, best sites are Fiverr, Upwork, 11 Labs, VA Voice Acting, and Voice Acting Club Discord servers. Now, having said that, I didn't actually hire a video editor for my first video. It just so happens that I'm quite a decent editor, and I have my way around visual effects. So even though it was time consuming, I edited the first video myself using DaVinci Resolve. Besides, I tend to outsource video editing later down the line instead of right at the start for 3 reasons. First, I can establish the editing style for all future videos. Second, when starting channels, I want to keep expenses to the minimum. And third, I actually enjoy editing, so I don't mind it at all. Finally, after having my first video ready, all that was left was to create a thumbnail. I didn't go overboard with any AI tools, flashy effects, saturated colors, etc. I chose a relatively simple format showing my yearly revenue with a blue line indicating growth. Of course, there were a few variations. You can see on the screen all the discarded thumbnails I decided not to use. At last, on July 6th, I published my first video. I followed all of my usual methods. I never reinvented the wheel. I just replicated what was already performing for others. On the very first day, I received 5 views. Not great, but not terrible either, if I'm being completely honest. The next day, I received an astonishing 388 views, which was a clear sign that there was potential. The video peaked on the third day, amassing almost 1.5 thousand views. Over the next few weeks, nothing crazy happened. It just kept bouncing up and down. So far, the channel has gathered 13,000 views, 700 watch hours, and 450 subscribers. Some of you will point out that, well, this isn't technically a lot of growth, to which I say, yes, it is. For 99% of aspiring content creators, the hardest part is gaining that first bit of traction. And don't forget, this was done with just a single video. In my mind, this proved that my methods are as effective as they've always been, and I've just shown you step by step how I did it. Now, let's move on to my favorite part of this whole video. So far, I've only explained how I built the channel you're watching right now, but there's another channel that I spent around $600 in production, which completely flopped. Everyone loves to talk about their success and achievements, but I'd like to do a 180 and tell you exactly why this other project of mine didn't work out. The channel is called Overthinker. My plan was to create videos about the darkest episodes of different cartoon shows. It was a really difficult project to start because I'm a perfectionist, and in my head, in order for the channel to succeed, it needed to be executed perfectly. I spent around a month looking and hiring different scriptwriters, and in the end, I still had to do more than half of the work because I either didn't agree with their opinions or thought there was a lot more room for improvement in their scripts. After pushing out 2 videos and having a backlog of 2 more finished scripts, I decided to pull the plug. Looking back, I don't know what I was thinking because there was just so much wrong with this channel. Don't get me wrong, I believe I executed the channel perfectly. The scripts, video editing, voice acting, thumbnails, and titles were exactly how I imagined them in my head before starting the channel. But there's more to a channel than its execution. You see, there were a few fundamental errors that I either overlooked or subconsciously avoided because I was too deep into the project. Let's break it down step by step. Why did I choose this niche? If you search on YouTube for the darkest episode of some cartoon show, you'll find channels creating videos on this exact topic, but you won't find a channel specifically specializing in the darkest episodes, only outlier videos. I say outlier videos because if you take a look at these channels' most popular videos, you can immediately tell that the darkest episode video topic way outperformed their other videos. It was a clear sign that there's more interest in the darkest episodes rather than any other cartoon-related subjects. So, after feeling like I cracked the code, I built Overthinker. It took me some time to realize that in order for these obscure cartoon essays to work, you need to have established a proper following beforehand. You see, there's no natural demand for the darkest episodes of SpongeBob or Tom and Jerry. It's very unlikely that people will search for these videos in the first place, and that immediately decreases the channel's potential by a lot. When you create your first video, the initial source of views that reaches your video is from search. After your video has accumulated enough views from search, if it shows promise and upholds decent metrics, YouTube's algorithm will start testing your videos to broader audience pools. That's when you start receiving views from browse features and suggested videos. In my case, there's no audience that is naturally attracted to these videos. Combine that with the fact that the videos are rather slow, require active thinking, and are somewhat philosophical, and all of a sudden the channel has a very low chance of witnessing sudden growth, or any growth for that matter. There are a few more things that killed the channel before it even started. First of all, creating a video essay about the darkest episode of a cartoon show is not exactly a walk in the park. It requires a lot of properly articulated arguments, opinions, and also a touch of personality to bring life to the essays. These things are difficult to automate. Besides that, each video requires a broad knowledge and understanding of the cartoon show in question. So when said show has a few hundred episodes, it inherently makes things more difficult. Second, the target audience is rather complicated. Who would be interested in these types of videos? Probably not kids, even though the videos are about cartoons, but also not young teenagers, because these videos are quite complex and require attentive thinking. That leaves late teens and young adults. Also, it's important to note that I don't have an established audience interested in hearing my opinions, so the topic of the video must be the primary factor driving its traction. Besides that, the viewer must have seen the cartoon show show when they were young in order to find the video topic even remotely engaging. And let's not forget, not everyone is keen on watching darker themed videos. Some people might be interested in the topic, yet hesitate to watch the video to not ruin the innocence of their favorite cartoon show. The third factor that killed the channel before it even started is that it's almost impossible to produce videos like these over 10 to 20 minutes in length, or at the very least, it's very difficult to do so without sacrificing some of the quality of the video. The cartoon niche, in general, has a rather low RPM. Therefore, it's necessary to either produce a lot of videos quickly or focus on creating way longer videos. I'm talking about 1 to 2 hours, just for the sake of increasing the RPM. I couldn't do either because my chosen topics were very complicated. So essentially, without sponsors, the channel wouldn't have been sustainable in the long run. Speaking of sustainability, we have the fourth factor that doomed the channel right from the get-go. There are only so many popular cartoon shows with interesting dark episodes that after coming up with around 30 videos, I'd be forced to drastically change my channel's strategy in order to not run out of things to upload. The last reason why it was doomed from the start is because script writing for these videos is extremely difficult to outsource. You either need to additionally pay the scriptwriter to watch the cartoon you want to make a video about so they can grasp the core premise of the show, or you need to watch the cartoon and write the script yourself. Besides that, as a channel owner or the manager of the channel, it was my job to review the scripts, and in order to do that, I needed to at least familiarize myself with the cartoon the script was about. Otherwise, I ran the risk of greenlighting controversial takes, which I might not fully agree with had I watched the cartoon myself. This channel was definitely a humbling experience, and it reminded me of two fundamental principles. On one hand, you have the vision for the channel. It's what you want your channel to become. On the other hand, you have the execution of that vision. I believed in the topic. I thought it was interesting, but I never bothered to dive into the deeper aspects of my vision, such as process automation, topic demand, or solid monetization plan. I didn't do any of these. The vision of my channel was a blur. To add salt to the wound, I subconsciously avoided figuring out the vision of the channel because I was blinded by my perceived value of the topic. In my mind, the darkest episode of X cartoon show sounded too good to fail. Therefore, I wanted to believe that everything was going to work out on its own. I executed with no vision in place. Now that I gave you a closer look at the process of starting faceless YouTube channels, let me say something. Not a lot of YouTube growth gurus analyze their failures, and for a good reason. Failures don't sell as well as success. But because failures don't sell as well as success, a lot of valuable information gets swept under the rug under the pretext that it never succeeded. There's a reason why failing leads to victory. It's because each time you fail, you learn from your mistakes and apply your renewed knowledge to your next channel. That's why I wanted to give you both sides of the coin, a success and a failure. Two polar opposites, yet equals in terms of the value they provide. That's all I wanted to share in today's video. Both channels are linked in the description. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below and I'll answer every single one of them. Peace.